人意，智慧处有大位，有亲不和有孝子，有仁义，国家混乱。
The new DLC trailer for Total War 3 Kingdoms has dropped, and it looks like we're going back in time just a bit with the Mandate of Heaven. Taking place in 182 CE, 8 years before the main campaign, the Mandate of Heaven puts you at the very beginning of the Yellow Turban Rebellion, where you'll not only get to play as the rebellion's founders, but also the Emperor of the Han Empire and a handful of legendary characters from the main game, putting you in their origin stories to set up the events of the Three Kingdoms. In this video, I'll very briefly go over the new factions as part of this DLC and their unique mechanics, with dedicated and more detailed overviews coming in the near future. I'll also touch on a few new campaign features as well. As always, let's dive in. Part of the free Three Kingdoms update coming with this DLC will bring a new form of government for any Han Chinese factions. This new form of government will allow complete control by the Emperor over his allies, including the ability for an ally to go to war or even accept peace. Too tight of a grip may cause more problems than it solves though. Victory conditions for this DLC remain unchanged for the main campaign. It will be more about when to strike during the rebellion, and with more rebellious counties than in the main game, the opportunity to gain land without going to war with major factions can lead to some interesting choices to take the throne. Starting with the head honcho Emperor Lian, who is pretty much responsible for this entire mess due to his negligence. His lack of action has resulted in a massive power struggle in the court, giving rise to his unique mechanic, the Imperial Court. Three factions vie for power in it: bureaucrats led by the eunuchs, who seek to centralize power in the hands of the politicians, aka themselves; warlords, who seek the very opposite, wanting local autonomy to rule their own chunk of land, answering only to the emperor; and lastly, the dynasties, aka your wife, who wants to have all the power stem from the imperial family itself. The emperor's faction currency is political influence. This currency is used to balance these three power blocks, enacting changes within the court. Generated by administrative court buildings and major settlements, influence can be used to kick out corrupt court members, or even at very high levels expended to annex entire factions within the empire. Liu Cheng is the emperor's kin, but not heir to the throne. Happily focused on managing his land, he is loved by his people and determined to make his holdings a place of peace and prosperity for any who seek it. While confident his kin, the emperor, will take control of things should they get out of hand, he'd rather just stay put and keep his own land safe. Beloved by his people for his personality and skill in battle, trophies are an apt mechanic for his faction. By achieving a prescribed series of feats in battle, he can unlock trophies that grant unique bonus effects across his faction. There is a limited number of trophies he can have at one time though, so keep that in mind. Fortitude is Liu's unique mechanic, and it rises as he fights battles, giving his troops powerful military bonuses the higher his fortitude goes up, though what those are in detail have yet to be seen. Last of the Han factions is Liu Ji. One of the most preeminent scholars in the Empire, Liu Gan is an excellent teacher, having taught Liu Bei and Gongsun Zhen. He was also a renowned warrior, crucial during the Han Empire's assault on the Yellow Turban Rebellion. His unique mechanic is the Great Library. Much like Liu Chong and his trophies, he'll need to achieve a series of feats to collect a range of unique works to populate his library, which in turn will give his faction bonuses. Some works belong together to give even further bonuses when displayed at the same time. Playing at the very beginnings of the rebellion, you'll get to play as the three Jaune brothers, the founders of the Yellow Turban Rebellion. As these three brothers share the same ideology, they'll also share the same mechanics, zeal, and fervor. Zeal is the flame of the rebellion, and it needs to be stoked for the rebellion to succeed. This mechanic is literally shared between the brothers on the campaign map at the same time. As zeal falls, the rebellion can falter, causing your commanderies to rise up in favor of the Han dynasty. Zeal is maintained by capturing counties and fighting battles. Fervor represents the support of the rebellion by the common people, and the growing instability it causes for the Han. Fervor increases in regions with high concentrations of Yellow Turban Rebellion troops and buildings. At high levels, fervor will spread beyond its borders into adjacent regions, causing public order issues for Han cities. The Yellow Turban Rebellion's victory conditions are based on unification through the way of supreme peace, which can only be accomplished by, of course, overthrowing the Han Empire. At some point in your early campaign, the Mandate War will begin, where all Han factions declare war on the Yellow Turbans, with relentless conflict ensuing. As such, capturing 50 regions or the capital of Liuan will achieve the victory they seek. The true founder of the rebellion, Jaune, is known as the General of Heaven. Having been given the scriptures of great peace, he believes this rebellion to be one of righteousness against the corrupt Han dynasty. He leads his brothers in the rebels' cause. Zhang Lian has the title the General of the People and is an artisan of defensive strategies. His role is to build impregnable defenses against the waves of the Han Empire. With the Han General Liu Gan in command of the initial assault, the clash between these two characters is inevitable and could shift the balance of power in the entire region. Last but certainly not least of the brothers, the General of the land, Jian Bao, is the brute of the family, honing naked aggression into a force for change. It is his goal to expand the rebellion's sphere of influence as quickly as he can, and Jian Bao is best suited for such a venture. Regardless if you buy the DLC or not, all players will receive some free LC in the form of Tao Gan as a playable faction in both the main campaign and in the Mandate of Heaven DLC. Tao Gan is a very well respected governor and steward of the Han. Focusing on building tall, his goal is to make life better for the people he governs. His unique mechanic is displaced population. As war engulfs the region, Tao Gan offers his lands as a refuge for those fleeing the war. The displaced population mechanic occurs every time a city is conquered by any other faction. When this mechanic and resource is low, Tao Gan receives public order boosts and increased food production. The higher it gets, the more food it costs to feed them, but at the benefit of reduced construction times and mustering times for his armies. As mentioned at the start of this video, there are a small handful of playable factions from the main game. These are Cao Cao, Liu Bei, Sun Jian, and Big Daddy Dong Zhou. Each of these factions will start in a much different scenario than the main campaign to reflect their very early beginnings. To wrap this video up, there are two new campaign features that will have a pretty hefty effect on your campaign. Regionless recruitment is one of these. A faction's armies can now recruit troops in non-hostile territory, even if the faction owns no regions. This applies to units and retinues only. New armies will still have to be recruited in your own territory. While a bit surprising, this does make a bit of sense, considering that the Han factions are all under the Emperor and that the rebels are all very tightly bonded over their righteous goal. Emergent AI factions are also due to appear, notably those that appear in the main campaign. These will queue under certain historical conditions. The example given is Yuan Shao. He will appear only if the Emperor is deposed, while Xinjiang will start to terrorize northern commanderies around 189 CE. This emergent feature means that it is very well possible to play your Mandate of Heaven campaign well into the time period of the main game to see some familiar faces, or maybe those you never expected to make it as far as they did. That's all for this brief glimpse into the new Mandate of Heaven DLC for Total War 3 Kingdoms. For more on this new DLC, stick around and subscribe to the channel, as there's a lot more coming before release on January 16th. Thanks for watching, this is HvorHavoc, and I'll see you in the next one.